Is that your pen?
And good. All right, we'll call it to order. Got a nice group tonight. We're going to have, tell you a little bit how the proceeds we have. We'll proceed straightforward. We're going to do a little opening, say the Pledge of Allegiance, have a moment of silence, and then we'll begin the meeting, okay? So if we can stand up, do the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And today, before our moment of silence, you may remember that today is August 13th, and it's 10 years, 11 months, and 2 days ago since that fateful morning on September 11, 2001, when 4 United States civilian passenger planes were hijacked by terrorists. We all remember that day, where we were, what we were doing, who we were with, and who we desperately wanted to contact. Flights were grounded all over North America. The next day, churches were packed. There was a feeling in the air, and you could feel it. You'd taste it, hear it. There was a resolve to do something. Many people in Carroll County did join up. I personally knew a doctor that left her practice and joined up and served in Baghdad. We all know somebody like that. So as we take a moment of silence, let's remember those people that did dedicate their lives. Thank you.
It's 9.
What?
It's 9.
Good. So we have the agenda has been out and published. We have a couple little additions. I'm going to switch some things around. Any additions from council members?
Do we need to discuss the issue that was brought up at the last meeting about rescue dog adoptions at the Fall Festival? I think Ivy was to get back with answers, and she did, and I think she needs a decision.
Okay, we'll put that on the agenda. We'll get it towards the end. Rescue dogs. Also, we're going to include for-profit businesses in town parks, and also talk about the maintenance internet connection. Anything else you think of right now? Anything from the public? I have something I want to put in after the military memorial, since John Ellis is here tonight. Okay. All right, then let's begin. So we've been working on this military memorial over a year. I see Merle Sumi and the American Legion, a bunch of the group are here tonight. We're really pleased to have you here. I know you guys want to speak on something, so I'll ask you to come up at the podium up here, and you can do your presentation. Thank you, Merle. We've been working with the American Legion for, I guess, almost over a year now, right?
It has been. I looked in the notes and it was April.
April?
2011.
That's right. That's right. So podium's right there, you like?
On behalf of the Sykesville American Legion Post 223, it's an honor to be participating in this Sykesville Military Memorial. I have with me, starting on my left, John Ridgely, former past commander of the American Legion, who is representing the American Legion Riders. We have Harry Schaefer, who's also a member of the Legion and a member of the Legion Riders, and his wife, Teresa Schaefer Vaughn, who is Teresa Vaughn Schaefer. Yeah. These hyphenated names, they get me. I'm of the old school. Who is president of the Ladies Auxiliary of Post 223. And a member, yes, of the Legion Riders. And then Greg Powder, who is also a member of the Sons of the American Legion. Commander of the American Legion, at least the last 2 years, and how many more years? Four, okay. Oh. See, once you get the job, it's hard to get rid of. But anyway, we have donated, the 4 organizations have voted to donate. The American Legion is donating $200, the Legion Riders $100, the Ladies Auxiliary is donating $100, and the Sons of the American Legion is also donating $100, which is a total of $500. My math still works.
Very good.
But anyway, it's a distinct honor here to present these checks to the town And we will be having more coming forward from members also. So, Frank, if you will come forward.
Absolutely, thanks. Great, thank you very much, Mark.
Here is my check.
Thank you very much. This is we really appreciate it very much. It's something the whole community is around and behind. We appreciate your leadership. We've been working with Merle since the beginning, and all the way through to the final. So, hope it's something you'll be proud of, and that we're all proud of.
And you might note also that there is the possibility of donating for the bricks for the memorial out here. They're $100 a piece. Yes, yeah.
We'll use each one of these. We'll give you as each one of the bricks in recognition of the organization that did. So we're going to donate a brick in your honor of each one.
I'm sure some members also will be donating $100.
We'll get out information about purchasing bricks.
Yep. We have it tonight. We'll get it before you leave. I think Chance is hopping up right now to get you something.
Well, you sent me, faxed me the form, so I have it, and I made copies, and
Good.
we will.
And if you want me to come out, we can make a presentation too, so whatever works
All
also.
right.
We'll buy another brick too.
Fantastic, that's great. Good. And we challenge each one of the town council members to buy 2 bricks.
There you go.
So we've got to have leadership, and so the town council's behind it, everybody else is behind it too. So we're going to do it in phases, as you know. We'll talk a little more about that later tonight, but we really appreciate your support. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
All right,
Great,
thanks, Frank.
Great.
Thank you so much for your service and your
Absolutely.
donations. Thank you. We really do appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to ask John Ellis to come up to the podium. And then we'll take a short break so everybody can take a recess after this.
Geez, we're just getting started.
So now, which is so many good things. We're so lucky to have so many people that care about the town, community, volunteer their time and effort. John has been he's been volunteering for how many years now?
10 years.
10 years. And did you like the pay? Pay was great.
Pay was great, right.
But it's a service of love. And, when people, volunteers, like what he's done, the town was just voted one of the top 10 places in the country to raise kids. It's always, the whole area is always in the top 100 best places to live in small towns. So the town council, the mayor and town council put together a plaque. John has been working on our website for years. He's been our technical advisor on a lot of different issues, and he's always been very supportive, very positive, and helping out the town a lot, as his wife has too. Debbie served on the town council for how many years? 12 years? 12 years dedicated service. So we put together this plaque in his honor. He's been plaqued. That's a good thing.
That's a good thing, right?
So,
Yeah, right.
Right? The plaque, I don't know where I'm looking. Okay, right over here, I guess. So the plaque says, John Ellis, an appreciation for your years of outstanding service and dedication to the maintenance of the town's website. A grateful community thanks you. Best wishes, the Mayor and Town Council of Sykesville 2012. Thank you, John.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome to leave if you like. We won't be embarrassed.
Yes, I don't think we need to take a break.
Okay,
Nobody left.
we're ready to
Nobody
roll.
left, yeah.
Okay, good. Very good. All right, next up on the agenda, we've got the chief with his public safety report.
Want to do the repairs?
Actually,
Okay, yep,
if we could step back one.
yep.
This evening, we have Joe Barrington from the Carroll County Bureau of Utilities.
Correct.
Also a representative from HTI, and they want to bring us up to date on the closing of our Main Street Water and Sewer project.
Great.
So Joe, I guess, go ahead.
Joe, would you take the podium? Thank you so much.
To you at this time.
I'm Joe Barrington, back again. We're going to try and finish up our efforts here on the Main Street repairs. J.B. McNichols is here with HTI, representing them, and he's worked with us, and the company has, to try and resolve issues with logistics and supplies and everything else we need for this work. The effort of replacing the water and sewer infrastructure is finished, and now we're at a point with trying to get the paving done to meet everybody's criteria, dates and whatnot. We estimate starting the project on the 27th, which is also the first day back of school. It gives us 1 week between now and when we get ready to go. The process that we've discussed so far is to start out and travel down the road to remove each one of the areas that we patched and put in a permanent base coat there up to 1.5 inches from the current level of the existing road surface. That'll mean during that day, 2 days, 3-day period of time while that effort's being done, there'll be several speed bumps down the road. After that's accomplished, then the next step will be to bring in a machine that'll mill away the 1.5 inches of the rest of the existing old pavement, level it up, and that will leave one speed bump at each end of the area to be paved. And there's actually two areas. There's a 17-foot stretch up by Church Street, and then the rest goes from the other side of the intersection down here at Sandusky, and then comes out to right across from this building. Well, once the milling is done and everything's prepared, then comes in the material and the paving. And during this whole process, one lane will be open at all times. And depending on what the state allows us, it may be more than just the 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. It would be nice if you had more time to be able to get at the work. And right now, to the best of our knowledge, the only thing that we've got which could impede these plans is the weather. And even that's not looking real bad. So were there any other questions that?
Just briefly, so you're going to start that work the 27th, is that right?
Correct.
And how long do you anticipate the whole
We
project?
plan on having all of that paved in the 5 days.
Okay.
Yeah. We had initially thought about attempting to do it in 2 very long days. But because of the problems with trying to schedule the milling machine and getting access to the paving materials and all of the other issues, it looked better if we just slowed it down a little bit and went for the longer stretch. Now, we've talked to the chief, and during that period of time, there's really not going to be any room for parked vehicles. And I guess that will be one of the shortfalls that we have here. It's a problem. No, I don't believe there are any real big activities planned during that week. School starts, but that's...
Last Thursday, I did have an opportunity to walk Main Street and speak with most of the merchants that would be impacted by the no parking. We didn't have a date, but what we'll do is share that information with them. As Joe says, there'll be no parking on Main Street, but we'll still have one lane of traffic open. So hopefully we get in 5 days, get out, and
Absolutely.
no foul, no harm.
And maybe a couple days before, we can send out an email blast.
Yes.
But not only on the no parking, but just the fact about the speed bumps and what the work is being done. So.
Exactly, and the coordination of the communication will be through the town.
Right.
It's most fitting. You guys know most of the folks personally, and, they're right here, so. It worked well during the time we were doing the repairs, and I don't see any reason to change that right now. A newsflash, that type of thing, and we'll, any other information that we can pass along, this is great. Hopefully a lot of people see it and be able to, get a good handle on it.
So Joe, the actual process will be from 9 to 3 during the day, is what you're telling me?
Unless we can go longer, yes. Yeah.
Especially have people on site doing the work, other than that, it'll just be cordoned off the rest of the time, is what you're saying?
No, actually, once the process is done, each one of the strips
Okay.
that was excavated across the street
Okay.
will have to be opened up, the temporary material taken
Right.
out. The state wants us to cut back a foot or two, depending on where it is, to make sure that there's no voids or any other issues there, and get rid of any crumbled pavement or anything near that opening. That'll be a base coat of the base material, paving material, and that'll come up to within 1.5 inches of the existing pavement that's there right now. And once that's accomplished on one side of the street, they'll go to the other side, do the same, and then the milling will be the next part, and that'll be where the entire street on one side is just blocked off, and the machine comes in. There'll be dump trucks that'll follow the machine,
Right.
and they'll haul off that excavated pavement, or milled paved material, and they'll take it out of here. Once that's achieved, the only thing that'll stick up in that area will be places where there is a manhole or another access to the water sewer valves or something, and they'll be adjusted to fit exactly where they need to be. And then the paver comes in, and again, it'll be one lane at a time, goes through, finishes up. After that, it'll be a matter of painting, and I don't believe there's going to be many other issues after that as far as finishing. The sidewalk work is done, any of the disturbances that were there, so.
So, first of all, I wanted to thank you. You guys did a great job, man, getting through there. I think in that set of circumstances, it went really smooth, so thank you for that. And then, just past Oklahoma, I noticed, is that where you did the tie-in? Is that piece gonna get done, or are we just gonna start like on how far are you going down to, because I know we got a lot of patch pieces on that road right there, but I guess how far, where are you starting from Bex to go up this way? Do you know where that, because did you tie in just past Oklahoma? Like, I know there's that one triangle piece there. That was my only concern, is that's right at the intersection there, and I didn't know if you were gonna be, is that included in the?
That's going to be included,
About halfway through the intersection.
Yeah.
And then come up through.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that'll probably grab that then. Okay,
Yes.
good. All right.
yes.
And that was a tie-in out there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, man, I know we got some patches now, but I was like, I hope we weren't gonna have a confluence of patches there.
No, right now, there is no connection to the water line at the other end of Oklahoma. And it would only make sense that eventually that gets tied in as a loop. So what we did in preparation for that, to avoid having to tear up the intersection at some point in time, and to avoid having to get back into the state highway pending that it stays that way. But anyways, we had HTI install enough material length so that it'll go out just past where we're gonna pave. When the time comes to make that connection, the pipe's there and the valves are there and everything's in place, so.
Smart.
And it's new materials, so we shouldn't have any problems for a long, long time with that.
That's great.
Yeah. The areas that don't have the new material into them, there's 192 feet between here and Church Street. That we're not gonna touch. That's not in bad shape right now. The county's still looking at how we're gonna address that and how soon we'll be able to, and the method that we'll be able to address it. And then the same thing from the other side of Church Street on up. The reason that we disturbed the area in Church Street is because there was one valve there that would allow us to shut down water on the main, and now there's three, so we can shut off Church Street or the area this way, or we can shut off the area that way. So that's what should have been done perhaps in the first place, but now it's there and it's done, and the intersection's done. We pave that area, and then we can start from there and go both ways as time permits and as we get the resources, so. Any other
Do we need something to trigger that, or is right now, is it in a plan to do that,
It's
or what's the status?
definitely in a plan, and right now, coordinations, the budget office is trying to work out the coordination with how we're gonna pay for it and how it's gonna work out. We just discussed it a little bit in general, and the county, we've had a couple little meetings, but basically we were kicking around the idea of perhaps Mondays, because most of the businesses are closed and it's a slow day, to come in and do the work we could do on any Monday, putting in new pipe, which would be 2 or 3 sections, depending, maybe 4 if it's depending on what we run into. And then during the week, we would tie in the connections and make those street repairs just for that area, all done at one time, just so that when we finish that up, each section would be complete as we moved on. And the effort would be to finish finish and connect with Spout Hill and Springfield, where we've ended when we came down Spout Hill last year, and change that out. So then that would finish up the Main Street, Spout Hill area. And we've also, in the last month, replaced one of the pressure reducing valves that was reducing the pressure into this lower elevation area. And now we're looking at about 80 pounds of pressure here, where it could be as high as 150. And that's part of the problem with trying to maintain these older pipes, is we don't want to have them see that kind of pressure. So one of those valves is brand new. We've got another one that we're working on getting renewed, and we're looking at an overall picture of just how we want to eventually end up regulating all the pressures down here, so that everything is a lot smoother and there's less issues with shocks and turbulence within the system. So,
Great.
good enough.
Okay, great. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
No, that's mine. I wish you would stay. Thank you. Good evening. The public safety report this evening covers a time period beginning on July 5th and ending August 8th, 2012. During that time period, our officers assisted the Maryland State Police, the Carroll County Sheriff's Office, and the Howard County Police Department with 28 calls for police service outside of the jurisdiction. Those calls consisted of 3 domestic, 3 disorderly conduct cases, 2 alarm calls, 1 homicide, 2 suicide attempts, 1 motor vehicle crash, 4 motor vehicle crashes, 4 burglaries, 3 assaults, 3 suspicious conditions, 1 911 hang-up call, 1 fight call in progress, and 1 animal complaint. Here, the officers within the community performed 8 special assignments. Most of those were radar assignments, traffic and DUI enforcement. Here in town, they handled 7 alarms. They had 4 assault cases. One of those, unfortunately, involved one of our officers who is now out injured. So we have 2 officers that are out injured at this time. We also had 2 burglary cases, 1 controlled dangerous substance case, narcotics case, which resulted in arrest, 4 check welfare cases, 3 civil issues, 2 disorderly conduct investigations, 2 domestic violence or family trouble calls, 1 dumping complaint, 241 foot patrols, 1 fraud investigation, 4 assist in town. These were the Carroll County Sheriff's Office and Maryland State Police with warrant and summons services. We had 2 juvenile complaints, 1 lost property report, 2 vandalisms, 1 motor vehicle crash, 1 noise complaint, that was a loud party, 3 summons services, reference to our cases here in town, 3 parking complaints, 5 police information reports, 3 recovered property reports, 1 sick or injured person, 3 suspicious condition investigations, 4 theft cases, 2 violation of our town ordinance soliciting without permits, 1 traffic hazard, 1 trespassing complaint, and 1 unauthorized use of a vehicle report, for a total of 342 calls for police service during that time period.
I don't know.
Any questions on any?
That's a lot.
There's a lot to go through, though. That was,
Condensed reading there.
that was, man.
That was a long period of time,
It was, yeah.
but we've been extremely busy.
Right.
I do, as far as the public safety aspect this evening, want to end with a reminder to all that Carroll County Public Schools, as well as the surrounding jurisdictions, as you just heard, their school year will be starting Monday, August 27th. We ask parents to take this time, have a conversation with your school-age children, be it if they're walking to school, they ride the bus, or they're older students that may drive to school. What we want them to remember, take their time, leave early, arrive safely. And to remember, the maximum speed limit on all town roads is 25 miles an hour, and we do work heavy radar enforcement. So we will be out there trying to kick off a good, safe start to the school year. So just a reminder.
Thank you, Chief.
That concludes the public safety aspect of the evening.
Chief, one question, Chief.
Yes,
I
sir.
know there was an article in the paper talking about door-to-door salesmen, and as you know, they're supposed to register here. Is there a charge for that they have to, is it $100? What do you have to do to get a
It
town
falls
permit?
under our municipal infractions.
Right.
What you have to do is determine, though, that they aren't aware of it. Unfortunately, what happens, many of them seek permits at the county level, and they believe it gives them carte blanche, even in the municipalities. So the first contacts, we normally go out, and we do have some habitual offenders, some companies that we have had running correspondence with, and then they blame it on new salespeople. But they have to come in, see Janice, get a permit. I then
What's the
conduct
cost of the permit?
$10.
No, only 10? Okay.
Yeah, and there's a cursory background investigation conducted on the individual. We just want to make sure that we're not putting any members of our community at risk, and it's safe for them to be going door to door.
Thank you.
So it's a simple, easy process. In most cases, it's taken care of within the day. So surely doesn't hurt their sales. It's a procedure that has to be followed.
Good, thank you.
One quick question, what's a 1095?
That's lock up a prisoner,
Okay.
1095.
So that means you went to jail?
Yes.
Okay.
Did not collect $200.
Very good.
What do you stop on? No.
Yeah. Do not pass go.
Well, Chief, I know you're wearing 3 hats right now, so we appreciate that.
Well, we can move along to item number 4.
Good.
The cyclocross event. I met last Thursday morning with Mike Berner of the organization. As you know, last year, they held their cycling event here on the Warfield campus, as well as through the Springfield Hospital grounds. They had approximately 200 participants in the race, probably another 50 or 60 family members and onlookers. They are hoping to schedule the event this year for Saturday, October 6th. That'll be the Saturday prior to our Fall Fest, which will take place on the 13th. So the race will be October 6th, the Fall Fest will be the following day, the following Saturday. At this meeting, we are still waiting, as of this date, for the approval of the WDC and also the approval of Paula Langmead, the CEO of the Springfield Hospital. But we didn't want to be caught short on time, so we basically went through what their needs or what resources they might need. And if you recall, they're very similar to last year. The resource need from the town was extremely minimal. They did last year and would also this year provide us with a certificate of insurance as well as a deposit. They have filed a special permit with the police department, and I bring that to you this evening because they are attempting to have a sponsor for a beer garden. Now, the beer garden, as if you're familiar where the Nexian building is, just to the left of it, there's a pull-off area there where many people park when they go to use our trail. It's that grassy area back there. It would be self-contained with a snow fence, only one way in and out. It would be staffed by personnel and professional vendors, be a server. We talked about the limit of no more than purchasing 2 beverages at one time and still monitoring the consumption level. The security aspect of it still has to be worked out because we would like to have a uniform sworn officer there in case he or she would be needed. As far as what we, the town, would have to provide would be possibly 1 or 2 members of the auxiliary. The bicycle race does impact the circle there, so we would have to have auxiliary officers stationed there to assist with road crossings and vehicular traffic that may go through there at the time. In particular, I guess the most important thing is, I guess we have to have some discussion because in our town ordinance, chapter 43, section 43.3 requires that the mayor and council members of the town give an exemption for the consumption of alcoholic beverages in a public place or on town property. So we may be putting the cart before the horse. As I said, they're still looking for a sponsor for this beer garden, but I'm sure they would like to have everything in place in case it comes about quickly. We have 2 more meetings in September prior to the event, so I will put the ball in your court, see what direction we go.
They'd be purchasing drinks, it wouldn't be free beer if someone sponsored,
Correct.
right? Okay. Just making sure.
I was at the WDC meeting, and I think the certificate of insurance issue covers one concern, and the deposit covered the other concern. I don't think the beer garden came up in conversations and meetings. I don't know if they're
This is a
aware.
new
Okay,
item.
okay.
Yeah, we discussed it preliminarily last year, and they didn't move forward. They chose not to move forward. If you remember, it was the same time last year as our fall festival. So we invited them to our community to consume at 2 of our
Right,
local
right.
establishments. So,
I'd like to defer it to the next meeting, because I'd like to bring it up to the WDC as well.
Okay.
The next meeting, which will be the first week of September.
When do they need to know? What deadline for to get all the permits for the alcohol?
they just, the WDC met on the 8th, last Wednesday. And like I said, we're still waiting for a decision. More than likely, the sponsor would be a vendor, and the vendor through the county has a license to dispense. So when they enter into that agreement, that authority already comes with it, it's authorized.
So we don't need like 6 months or 3 months, or anything, it's not time?
No,
Okay.
that would be on the vendor who's dispensing it.
Okay. All right, then, I have no problem. We'll just defer that then. Is that okay?
To the next meeting.
The deposit is sufficient, because I understand last year there was
Right, they
damage.
use the deposit, right?
Yeah, last year we used it to repair some of the grassy areas. There's always concern when you have the bicycles having contact with the ground and what damage it could do to the environment. I don't know if we kept the whole, it was 500,
I think it was 500.
and we kept the
I
whole,
think we kept the whole thing?
yeah,
Oh,
How much is it this year? Do we know? Okay.
I do not have it for
Okay,
some
we
reason.
can find that out.
Number
Okay.
5.
Yeah,
Yes? Dennis Hoover?
You need to know how much of what, this was discussed at the
Was
WDC, is how much was the deposit, and was it all used, and whether the deposit should be increased.
Okay.
Those were issues.
Good.
Okay.
So, we'll have that for the next meeting then.
And
Yeah,
the
that's a
beer,
good
the beer
point.
garden
So
didn't
we-
come up though, right?
Beer
That-
garden did
yeah,
not come up.
okay.
So maybe, we probably need to increase a little bit with the beer gardens going on this year.
Well-
But we can discuss that next meeting.
I can reach out to Mr. Berner again to see if they had mentioned that with the WDC. Hopefully they did.
I would check with Brad Reese to see,
Right.
whether the repairs were adequate and.
Well, and also, they are looking at, they project about 275 participants this year. So the foot traffic associated with that should be greater, probably about 325, 350 total.
Right.
So you may want to consider raising that amount.
yeah.
Any other
At
questions?
least
They
maybe
can-
doubling that. I mean, I think doubling it is probably
Yeah,
considerable.
because we'll give them back, if there's not much
Right.
damage. Any other questions? They can come back.
Irma's got some.
I was just gonna
Irma?
comment,
Yes?
any actual bad property damage, we've got a $500 deductible, so a $500 deposit would cover the deductible
point.
part. And then the insurance, hopefully their insurance actually would cover,
Okay,
so.
good point. Okay, well then, it's okay to defer? Okay, we all agree defer to the next meeting. Okay, thanks.
Good point, Doug.
So the next up, we have the Historic District Commission appointment.
Is that happening?
Do we want to defer that so the mayor can actually let her in?
No, the mayor left us a letter that he would like you to do it.
Okay.
Here,
it's in your box.
yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't make it over there. Thank you. So, on the agenda tonight is request, okay, so he would like Frank Robert, that's me, to make the motion, fill in the blank, motion to confirm the appointment of the council in my absence. Good. Please appoint Stacy Link. Okay, so do I hear a motion to appoint Stacy Link to the Historic District Commission to serve a 3-year term?
Motion.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? No? Passes? We'll welcome Stacy Link then. Great.
Congratulations, Stacy.
That's right, you win.
Maybe watching if they're live streaming.
That's right.
Yeah.
For those who know, we are live streaming tonight for the
Yeah,
first
so-
time. So not only is it going on the web, but you can actually see from your home, so. Good, Community Parks and Playground Grant Application. Julia Pets.
I'm going to do a brief segue. I don't know how many people are aware, but the commissioners just voted. We received the grant for the Freedom Area Bike Trail feasibility study. And they had to approve accepting the grant because it has the condition of a match of $35,000 in staff time and in-kind services. There was concern that it was going to require a monetary match, and it didn't, so that's good news. And the commissioners did unanimously accept the grant. So that should be moving forward, and we'll hopefully have good things come out of that. Connect Eldersburg and Sykesville, and in the future, do more in the town of Sykesville down to Main Street. Another grant for fiscal year 2014, the Community Parks and Playground Grant. We submitted last year for the upper part of the linear trail, and there were so many submissions and money was short, we didn't receive it. Our proposal this year is to submit basically the same application, update it with dollar figures that are up to date as far as paving costs. There are equipment stations that we are designating as a priority 2. The paving is priority 1. I don't know how many people have been on the linear trail up at the top of Gray Way down to the sediment pond, but it's in pretty bad shape. It's going on 20-plus years, I believe. So that's our priority 1 in the application, and priority 2 is to add, I think it's 6 exercise stations. So I'm not sure I need a motion, but I think I'm going to make a motion just to have it on the record and get approval. Billy with Parks and Rec has been working with Dinah to get the application prepared, and it has to be submitted this week. So I'd like to make a motion that the grant application for the Community Parks and Playground FY 2014 be submitted for improvements to the linear trail.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Good. Everybody.
All
Hey,
right, thank you.
one quick thing, Bill, well, Billy too, thanks a lot for working on that, we really
Absolutely,
do
Billy.
appreciate that, that's awesome. But is there any way to like incorporate, like connecting that at least to the ball field at the top? Like, you know, it's kind of weird that that thing like just ends in the woods there.
There's been a lot of talk about that. but
Yeah.
I believe that actually goes outside of town property.
Is that
Yeah.
what it is?
Yeah.
The long term or the vision is to somehow get that trail, and actually there's a way down.
To Piney
get over to
Run.
Piney Run Park.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Ultimately, where we'd like to connect it.
Okay.
Clarify something? Julia,
Mhm.
you're talking about the part of the linear trail that runs from Calorama north? Or you're talking about the whole linear trail all the way down to Sediment Pond, past my place?
Yes.
Rayway down.
Gray
Yeah.
Way down to,
But I'd be a little concerned about adding exercise stations because the existing exercise stations are poorly maintained. And from what I've seen and what my wife's seen walking, rarely used. I just have a concern.
Yeah, this is, it's a whole different plan than
Yeah.
what was put out there. Of course, not everyone's gonna be able to see, so I can share it right here and then we can pass it around. Along the upper part of the linear trails, the only place that we're gonna be placing or hope to put some of this gear would be from Gray Way down to Calorama.
Yes,
Not on the lower portion of the
Right.
trail,
Okay, well,
but, okay.
no, I was just gonna say, the lower portion of the trail is very poorly maintained, the exercise stations. So I would hope that when, I don't object to you putting these in, but when you do, there should be some provision that somebody take care of them.
right, and we have had discussions to have those areas better maintained, because that was our concern. We've walked the trail as a committee, and we noticed that those areas really needed to be cleaned up. And that's something we're going to work also with volunteers to try and help do the upkeep in the parks and on the linear trail.
That was my only concern, thank you. Thank you very much.
Good. Okay.
That was my question,
Oh,
obviously,
okay.
Debbie?
because they're rusted out, they're dangerous, they should probably be taken out.
Taken down.
So I'm just asking about what the exercise.
Right.
Thanks.
Good. All right, well, we can't vote on the bids without Leo. Why don't we go to 11, then we'll come back. Town manager search budget line item, Irma Bass, treasurer.
You're gonna need a vote on that too.
We will? Okay.
Okay, he's
Well,
back.
he's back, good. Everything else we need you to have a quorum and vote on. Okay. So good, townhouse exterior trim painting bids. Chief, you wanna run through those?
So with,
Yeah, we're ready to go.
Okay.
As you may recall,
about the youth?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, am I skipping the youth?
One more.
Gosh, I'm jumping ahead. Okay.
youth, yeah.
Now I know why Mike crosses things out.
that thought.
Hold that thought, chief.
Sorry, Chief.
Okay, I'm
While
sorry.
we're on parks, we might as well finish that up.
Right.
Yeah.
Julia, continue, please. My fault.
Parks and Recreation has got several youth that are interested and have been participating in the activities on our committee, and we'd like to make them members of our committee. Parks and Rec proposes that we modify the process that youth have to go through to get on the committee. And what I mean by that is, we would like to stipulate that they attend either 3 meetings and/or 3 of our events, so that we have a feel that they're committed and they know what the committee is about and what's expected. And then we, as a committee, would make the recommendation to appoint them. They would still submit a letter of interest, but we would forego the resume and the interview with the mayor. We just felt like that wasn't something that was necessary. The mayor had some concerns that I provided him answers about how many youth we wanted to allow, if there were any age restrictions. So the Parks and Rec Committee has decided that they'd like to be able to include up to 5 youth. We figure with the youth schedules, we'll be lucky to have 1 or 2 at a time attend any of our events or meetings. We'd also like them to have full voting rights. There was concern by the mayor on that point that possibly the youth could then have a quorum and exceed the adult votes, but on Parks and Rec, we vote as a committee on certain things, not much, but everything requires council approval. So it's just a vote in our committee to present to the mayor and town council. So I don't feel like, and the youth are the future of our town, so them having a vote as to how things go, especially on Parks and Recreation, we felt was a good thing. We'd like them to at least be a rising freshman, so those that have completed the 8th grade and will be starting the 9th grade in the fall would be eligible. We currently have 1 youth liaison on the committee, and he's been such a blessing. And we've got 2 more right now who have been participating, and we'd really like to put them on the committee. The mayor had concerns because this deviates from our usual process, but I think what he's looking at are all of the commissions. Parks and Rec is different because we're a committee. Everything else has guidelines as far as how many members they can have, and voting rights and all of that. I think this is very different because we're a committee, and I don't think that has the impact that a commission has. So I don't know if everybody's comfortable voting on that this evening. I'll read you what the mayor did say since he couldn't be here. He suggested, if the committee is interested in adding many youth, my number was 5, and the committee wants to be the entity that controls the appointment/membership of these youth, then I'd suggest that this group of youth volunteers be considered an extension of the current Parks and Rec Committee. Why an extension? Currently, all committee appointments are made by mayor, with council approval, and I don't believe we want or need to change this process. Thus, the adult membership and appointment process of the committee could remain status quo. This extension of what I'll call youth volunteers, for lack of a better name, can be controlled by the committee itself as suggested. As to whether the youth will have full voting rights on the committee, I feel that may be unwise, especially when you consider there could be 5 of them, essentially with the ability to outvote the adult members on issues. So I think I explained.
Right. Julie, how many of your
those,
adults do you have on it right now?
8.
Thank
Billy.
you. That was
Okay,
good.
sorry. You have 8. Now, each one of those had to go through the process, right? Interview, resume,
Yes.
the whole thing. And you guys referred them on, so they sort of had to get through you first, then to get through the mayor, and then the town council approve. Right? Is that, do y'all
Yes.
recommend them, or do they just go straight through the mayor? How does it work? No, I don't know.
We make a recommendation, but the mayor has been rather insistent that he handle the formal process. And even with adults, I feel, for Parks and Rec, again, being a committee, I feel it's really unnecessary. If we need all the volunteers we can get, and if we make the process so onerous that people don't want to even try to get on it, then I think we're shooting ourselves in the foot. So I had proposed also that the adult process be the same, that the Parks and Rec Committee simply make the recommendation after the adults, same as the youth, had participated in a number of events and meetings and expressed their interest. I just don't see what the interview process with the mayor adds to the whole process.
Let me take that in a different direction. I
Okay.
don't see what adding the kids to, making them formal committee members adds to the committee. Why can't they just be volunteers? Why do they have to be committee members?
Well,
Please,
go ahead.
Please.
If I could.
Absolutely, Billy.
The,
Billy, come up to the podium. I know, just so the TV people can hear you. So, I know, it's not, Billy does not like to be the center of attention. He is a behind-the-scenes guy. He's done a lot of great stuff.
youth that we're talking about, Cole Holliker.
Yep.
I think everyone knows Cole.
Yep.
Very dedicated. He's played a huge role in what we were doing with Parks and Recs. A lot of great ideas and participates in many of the activities. The 2 additional youth, one being my son, Zach, and Ryan Freeberger, they've been also very involved in the activities. Now, Zach has attended a couple meetings. Ryan is about to.
He's come to
Hopes to.
events.
But they've put in a ton of amount of time and effort. They're putting as many hours in as the adults. I just truly believe they should have an equal vote in what we do in the direction of Parks and Recs. I mean, we work as a good, cohesive team. A lot of folks throw ideas around. Zach doesn't necessarily agree with my opinion most of the time as well, which is good. And I encourage that, especially when we're doing Parks and Recs. So very open-minded kids and adults alike. And I just think it makes sense that everyone has that equal say in the direction of Parks and Recs. And again, we can't spend a dime. Parks and Recs. We can only make a recommendation to the mayor and town council. It's not having anything to do with town taxes or any direction the town chooses not to.
Right. Well said. Yeah, and someone I worked with, I guess, Billy, when we really got this thing rolling, however many years ago, 6, 7 years ago, I guess, right? And we were digging up members at the time.
Yep.
And then now it's great to have all the volunteers and all the great things that you've been able to stick with. Billy's been doing it the whole time. So, and we were fortunate when Cole Holacher was, I think he was liaison was his official title
Yes,
initially,
it is.
right?
Yes.
And then I guess you made him full member. So, right. And I think the committee does have differences than the commission.
And so consider this, with
Right.
with 8 adults, and now
Right,
hopefully 3
right.
youth liaison. If it does turn out one day there are 5 youth liaison, and there's 5 of them that show up and only 2 adults,
Right.
well, they still should make a decision because they're the ones that are actively involved
Right.
in Parks and Recs.
Right.
And they're really doing a terrific job.
Right.
And
They have more energy than we do.
they do, they do. And they're, again, as Julia put it, that's our future. Hopefully, at least one of those folks will step in and be an adult participant in Parks and Recs.
No, why 5? Why not 3? I mean, if you did something like, okay, the maximum, as long as the ratio was 2 to 1 adults to,
Again,
Children, you
we
wouldn't have
picked
a
the number
problem,
5 because we figure we'll be lucky to get 1 or 2 of
Right.
them at any particular thing because of their
Right.
school schedules. So if we set 3, then we'd be lucky to maybe get 1.
right.
So,
Have you set some rules and whatever for your committee as far as attendances and things like that? Or how,
No.
it was pretty fluid when we started it, so I didn't know.
no.
It still is a bit with
Okay.
4 movies and Christmas event and
It's a
6
lot.
concerts and
And you're all
holiday
volunteers.
events. We're just doing as volunteers. We need, all the help we can get.
Absolutely.
You have to have.
Anybody watching like to volunteer would be nice.
No.
Right.
There are no
There's no quorum,
stipulations in
right.
the charter or
Okay.
anywhere about Parks and Rec.
Okay.
My concerns are gonna want a beer garden.
That's why the council has to approve.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know, it's tricky, I guess. It's one of those ones where you're not 100% sure how, in the future it's gonna go, but I guess I'm all for it, seeing what the youth can bring to the project, so I don't know, it's tricky, it's just,
And these 3 youth are pretty sharp, the 3 that
Dennis,
you
you
mentioned. I'm sorry, Dennis, go ahead.
I'm just wondering, everything else you defer, the mayor's voice of opposition, you're 4 out of 7 members here.
Right.
Question whether this is appropriate for,
Right. If we're all in agreement,
as opposed to discussion,
we
but
delay it, yeah.
I'm still on the fence, so.
So you would
If
just
I could
delay,
add
okay.
something.
Yes.
sure.
You can always change it down the road if you see a problem with it. If it's not working, it could always be changed. I suggest we just move forward with it and make these guys members. And if it doesn't turn out to the liking of the mayor and town council going forward, it could be turned around. I just don't see the negative side to it. We could spend no money.
Right, I know.
We're just volunteers trying to do something good for the town. There's nothing beyond that.
Well, I mean, getting the feeling, we need to have 4 all, again, unanimous. So Leo, I think, wants to delay it for the next meeting. I'm on board with the idea. I think maybe the numbers we need to make sure that shore up. But I know how trying to get volunteers is tough, and these are 3 great youth that I know. So they're working hard, but unless we're all gonna say, okay, we're gonna override whatever the other 3 are gonna say, or do we
I
want
guess
their
I'm
input?
just not sure. I'd like to hear what the concerns are. Because again, as we keep saying, we rarely vote on anything.
Right.
And when we do, it's always brought to the mayor and town council for approval. So, I mean, if we had 15 youth, I'd be thrilled. But we picked 5, and I think that's a reasonable number. I guess I just don't see the concerns, and I'm not hearing them.
I just don't see the need to make them full members.
Well, I think
when they
it's-
can work as volunteers as they normally would on Main Street. We've got committee members, we've got other volunteers that show up and help. They're
Right.
not committee members.
But this is something they can put on their resume too, and they can use for college submissions. I just think it's important that they be a full member, and it gives them some pride in the position they're holding, as opposed to just being another volunteer. I mean, we could call up 100 volunteers to help with an event, but to say you're a member of the committee and have helped do X, Y, Z, I think
It
just
makes a
holds more
difference,
weight.
and it means they've gotta do some things.
Right.
Where if they're just sort of liaison, or a, ad hoc member or whatever,
They
they
don't
don't have
feel
voting rights.
obligated.
They don't
Yeah.
have the dedication. Cole spoiled us because he was very dedicated and came for 4 or 5 years. Go ahead, Billy.
Pardon me, Frank, there's
Oh,
also,
sorry.
which you might recognize, a political consideration here in that you're passing something that the mayor opposes without him being here to personally express his
Right.
opposition
Right.
before you override it
Right.
is politically probably not the best way to operate.
Well, we're not all for an agreement, so I think that's the smartest thing to go ahead and defer. We'll bring it up next meeting, but I do a good presentation, so, unfortunately. Okay,
Okay.
Before you close that.
Yes.
One more.
sure, go ahead, Billy.
You had mentioned that coming up with some ratio might be a better solution. The 2-to-1 that you mentioned.
Or, yeah, would that, I mean, if you have 4 or 5,
We pick a number that we thought was right. We're trying to encourage other youth to join.
right.
If the number were 4, giving you that 2-to-1 ratio, is that,
Or great, that 2 to 1's fine by me, or greater, as long as you have more adults than kids, I think that's a good thing. As far as official voting members, I think that would satisfy the concern, maybe,
and
of the
I'm still not
majority.
clear of the concern.
Just the kids saying, hey, we want to have rollerblading down Main
I'm not
Street
gonna argue
or
with you,
something,
okay?
so,
I've stated my position,
So,
I'm not gonna argue.
We're gonna, we don't have enough votes,
You are.
yeah.
No, I'm asking you, what was your concern? That was.
The- I think, yeah, let's go ahead and just defer, just,
Thank you.
go ahead. Next up, number 8, townhouse exterior trim bids. Chief?
At our meeting in July on the 9th, you were provided with a bidder's sheet as a
Don't have to
result
stare
of
at me
a
now.
sealed bid for the exterior painting of the, and cleaning of the townhouse.
You can sit there and stare at me.
We had the low bidder, there was a question in their contract, and I was asked to qualify that bid as far as the removal of the debris, in particular, the paint scrapings that would be removed from the building. In the low bidder's contract, it stated that they would bag it, but it was never specifically addressed as far as the debris removal per our RFP. I reached out to the low bidding contract and verified that they would change the verbiage in the contract and would be responsible for the removal of the scrapings and the debris. There's still, however, another issue as you look at those bids, and that is they exceed the budgeted funding for the project. The smaller phase, which is just the entire townhouse building, not counting the new addition, is about 2,000 more than what we have budgeted for the work.
Yeah, and at least on this one, that we got, a couple of things that I had concerns about is it says the client to dispose of per EPA standards. So that
Right.
means we have to dispose of it, right?
That verbiage would be changed, that's the one thing that
Okay.
we validated.
Oh,
That they would be responsible for the removal, that was, I think, the biggest
Right.
concern
Okay.
that we had. I did reach out to a couple references, because we have never used this contractor before. They came highly recommended, and it seemed that their prior jobs, clients were very pleased with the work done.
And then the other thing that I had the question of is it seems like for the little bit of extra money, I mean, it's like, you look, it's like all the stuff above is 575, and then below it's like option 2, just do trim.
Yeah, I thought that was odd too.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So I'm not sure that if we're looking at value, that it's worth not just, but then that's gonna leave us 4, right? Like 40,
Right. And
42.
I think some of that is that this addition wasn't built that long ago, so the exterior of it
Yeah, but it's that
is
wood,
probably in a little
right?
better shape. But here again, if you want the consistency of the color and have it done correctly,
Right.
somebody kept come up with 475.
So what do we do? What's the options in that? What are you guys thinking as far as the options are to?
And the other thing is, this is becoming somewhat time sensitive for the simple
Yeah,
fact
for the
that,
weather.
Yeah.
we don't want to have them start the project and run into bad weather and not be able to complete it.
It might not make sense to, and I think maybe the extra money might be penny wise and pound foolish if we're
Right.
trying, we're not gonna get them to come back and do that work for $2,200, you know what I mean? We're
Right.
gonna- So maybe we should seriously consider figuring out where to get the extra money to do that, I don't know.
When we need, how quickly can they get this done? What are they talking, time frame? What are we talking about?
Well, definitely the
Think of the
best
30
time-
Have to
working
notify
days.
them that they got the bid first.
Yeah, The best
Right.
time to get, I mean, this should be approved, man. I don't know. I know
Weather right now.
there's no opposition to this, is there?
How much are you short?
42, yeah, you got
4,000?
around
Right.
42.
We're getting 6,000 something from FEMA that was not budgeted.
Well, there you go. The trim probably blew off in the storm some anyway. You know, we could almost,
Yeah, it's 4,575, so that would be it.
so, why don't, I'm thinking we should go ahead and approve it, because we want to get this done. If you start waiting until it gets cold, the stuff
Yeah.
doesn't adhere right. and-
You got 4 nods here.
I saw that
Make a motion.
email.
I'll make a motion.
I saw that email from you. When are we getting that? About 30 days?
Yeah, it's scheduled, it's in the unpaid, online, it's in the unpaid stuff now.
Good.
But I'll need a motion to reclass that revenue into the
Okay, we'll do both.
Okay, thank you.
First off on the bid.
I'll make a motion that we go ahead and accept the bid from Premium Painting and Projects, Inc., in the amount of, for the full option for, $22,575. And then with the stipulation that we do change the client, to them, disposing of the.
Right.
And then,
Hold on a second, we'll just finish that.
Okay, so
Do I hear a
that's-
second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, second?
And then so then the second motion will be to reclassify the FEMA funds to go, the additional monies to go to this line item, right? I guess the 40, what is the total? 4575 from the FEMA funds to go towards the townhouse painting, and then the rest will go, I guess, to where the original allocation was going.
The
Okay,
general budget, right?
for the general funds.
Okay.
Second.
Discussion? Discussion? It's okay? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Great.
Cool.
All right, patching paving.
Good to get that done.
Another somewhat time-sensitive issue here again because of weather. We have put together a draft RFP for the patching and overlay paving of Jennifer Way, Spout Hill, and the southernmost portion of the McRoy parking lot. I guess we're looking for the approval to move forward with that. You can see the time frame there as far as the pre-bid conferences and receiving the sealed bid, but time somewhat running out. We do have budgeted funds currently approved in the FY 2013 budget for that.
So, do you think we can maybe deal with this at that same meeting that we're having, on the 30th or what have you? Maybe we could make this, is that okay to do that?
What are you talking about?
Aren't we having some meeting in August, at the end of August?
That's,
Yeah, that's for the town manager.
but on the RFP, it's got the proposals due by September 6th.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
we
Right.
got plenty of time then. Oh, I thought it was August something, I apologize. I thought the deadline date was August something. I was looking at something else.
The
that said a
pre-bid
Pre-bid conference.
All right, I'm sorry. Okay, so we got time then. So that we'll deal with that at the next meeting? Is that gonna be enough time to get all that in?
Next, when
No.
do we have to,
We're-
September 6th?
No.
We've got to get
There
it.
is there's no meeting before
The
that.
next meeting
What
is
I'm
in
saying is that we don't
September.
have the bids in yet.
Right, we'll get the bids, and then we'll
As a
address it
result
at our
of the
next
RFP
meeting.
going out.
Right, we're just here to approve the RFP.
He just wants to approve the RFP
Oh,
going out.
oh,
Yeah.
oh. Well, I'm thinking for time frame though, like, are we okay to getting into September? What is the kind of cutoff? This piece
For
here
the-
was
for
done
the-
too
for
late.
the
man.
paving?
Yes.
Yeah.
So whenever the townhouse parking lot, that was too late. When was that, November?
I was going to say November.
Okay, so yeah, we need to really be in October, I think. That's what I was getting at. Are we gonna have time to?
I think so.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Okay. So do you want approval for this? Move
Yes.
on? Okay,
We
do I
could.
hear a motion?
Motion to accept or approve the submission of the RFP.
I don't think we need to make a motion, I
Do we?
think we just need to
Does that require a
I think we
motion?
just have to approve
direct
it.
the
That's it.
RFP be submitted. That's
Right.
fine.
Cool.
Do we have a second? I want to hear, let's go ahead and just approve it. Approve the
Second.
request. Second? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Good. That's a cleaner. Excuse me. Number 10, Maryland Municipal Public Works Association Public Works Mutual Aid Agreement.
Yeah.
Chief?
This evening, I wanted to introduce this for consideration. It's a Public Works Mutual Aid Agreement. This year, while attending the MML convention, Councilwoman Betts and myself had an opportunity to attend a workshop on disaster recovery. This training centered around the La Plata tornado in Charles County and their efforts to recover. The one issue that was immediately known at the time of the event was they needed additional equipment, personnel, and resources. These valuable needs and resources could be made readily available by having a mutual aid agreement in place. Also, by having this agreement in place, it would allow for reimbursement of associated expenditures from MEMA and FEMA if a state of emergency is declared. With the recent increase in extreme weather events, I would recommend that you consider this proactive measure. As I noted in the material that you were provided, the Maryland Municipal League adopted this model agreement at the 2011 conference and have recommended this document for other municipalities. So I wanted to bring this to you this evening, offer this for your consideration. I'm sure you may want to have some further discussion. I have had conversations with our Public Works Director, Ron Esworthy. He is very familiar with the document and also the need. You know, my hope would be that upon approval, we could possibly reach out to some of the local municipalities, the town of Mount Airy, who has a public works section, as well as Westminster. You know, what concerns me, I mean, we're very fortunate we have a mutual aid agreement with the county for some of our law enforcement needs. But with some of these extreme storms, with some of the localized destruction, you know, we may be placed in a situation where we would have to reach out to our neighbors. And if we had the agreements in place, if we had prior meetings with them and their department heads, so we could mobilize rather quickly and give aid. I think the one thing that you'll notice too is that upon approval of this, though, it does require a resolution to enter into agreement or to withdraw from the agreement. But by signing the agreement, it also states that it does not obligate you to respond to all and any of the requests. So you still have that judgment factor as to what resources you might be eligible to share at a time of a disaster.
Have you had a chance to review it?
I read the mutual aid agreement. It's fine in substance. It doesn't obligate you to anything. It does create the opportunity for reimbursement should your people go out. You're not entitled to reimbursement. In other words, it's on your dime when you assist other people, but you're protected for liability issues, et cetera. But we would have to modify, because I think they gave us a sample ordinance, but it was from another jurisdiction. So if you were inclined, I think what I'd like to hear is that you're inclined to move forward on this and consider it the next meeting so that we can have a resolution prepared for introduction and adoption.
Maybe we should just do that.
No, I took a look at it. It's fine.
Yeah, I looked at it. I think it's fantastic, and I'll be willing to bring this up at the next MML meeting, which, by the way, is here in town. We're getting to that. So
Okay.
on September 20th, because I think that, man, that provides an awesome resource if we could start maybe networking, because, you know, the state moves a lot slower. Sure would be helpful in a big storm to maybe be able to tap into somebody who didn't get hit as hard,
Well, just even
and
in,
vice versa.
in debris removal alone. I
Yeah.
mean, the time spent, the equipment, the energy.
Yeah.
You know, this is something I think that we need to have in place, certainly, along with, as I mentioned, our mutual aid, public safety agreement.
So, yeah, so we'll need to move forward on that.
So that'd be awesome. Maybe we can have you come down to since it's in town, it's on, for that meeting. If you can pencil that in, that might, I mean,
More
it'd be
hats?
awesome.
You want
to
another
have
hat?
there.
Mr. Esworthy and I had talked about the possibility of meeting with the other representatives of the Public Works, so we could come to the table collectively and see what resources we also have to offer. The county currently has a list as part of their emergency management plan.
Right.
But I think this is a little closer to home, might be able to mobilize and deploy rather quickly, especially if we establish a personal one-on-one relationship with some of the department heads.
Good.
I think it's
All right, so
fantastic.
I think
Thank
I
you.
can see 4
Thank
nods
you
here. So,
for
yeah,
that, both of you.
we'll continue on that path then.
Thank you.
That's
So,
great.
I guess we're interested, right? So is that what you needed from us?
I just
Yes,
don't want to waste my time to draft a resolution, which
I think we're good.
won't get passed. So.
I think you got 4 nods. Next up, I can't even read my own writing here, so, but I think we'll go with the for-profits groups using town parks?
Are you
We
skipping
had
Irma
rescue
again?
dogs first.
Is it rescue dogs? Okay, that's what it is. I couldn't read it.
Rescue dogs
We
was-
didn't do
Dog.
Talking about town manager,
Well, that's
Oh.
coming up. I'm
Oh, wait a minute.
Okay.
Yeah,
Number
you're-
11.
You're number 11.
skipping. Okay, all right. Let's do the town manager update. Janice, do you have any info on that, or who's got?
It's
no, this
Irma.
is a
Irma's
budget.
got it. Okay,
It's a budget item.
there you go, Irma.
Okay.
Do we want a town manager, or just hold on to the chief? What do you think? Okay.
The June meeting.
He's having a heart attack. That's okay. Right.
Yeah, he's like,
Spend $10,500 for the executive search company,
Right.
plus expenses. I have created a line item under professional services for employment search expenditures. But I need to know a budget amount for those expenditures so that I can plug in a number for that. And then I also need to know what the funding source is. Are we reclassing from other areas like contingency or town manager salary? Or are we bringing in reserve funds to cover it?
Well, I thought our initial thought was, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that we're using the non-paid salary
The
plus
salary
going into
line.
was my understanding.
right,
But
but
I
I guess
think
she's
what-
gonna need a number, and that is
What she
important.
needs is a number.
Yeah,
And I
so,
need a motion.
how much, do we have any expenses up to this point, anything yet?
Yeah, I think it was $200. It was for an ad. It wasn't very much at this point, but I know there's some sizable ones coming up, like for the hotel.
Maybe like 10,000, you think that's gonna be, I mean, do you think, well, we should have that much in surplus easily enough, and I think we're gonna need that with hotels, rather than keep coming back and forth trying to up the
Hotel
number.
and travel.
Right.
Yep.
You think, does it,
10,000?
Does that seem
In
realistic?
addition to the 10,005?
well, yeah, because that 10,005 is the cost for the,
But has the search company given you an estimate of cost?
well, yes, we've got sort of, well, not a number
It
yet,
was
but
about
we've
5,000
been,
to
we've-
10,000,
yeah, we've been
as I
kinda made
recall.
aware of what it may be, what we may be expecting.
That's what you gotta.
It was
try to
between
beat.
5 to 10, so 10 is right.
10 would be fine, and then we'll take that. If we don't spend it, we'll bring it back.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying so that you're not constantly having to get,
20,005 is the number for the expenditure line item.
but yeah, and I don't know
And
that
then
you
you want
almost,
me to
it's almost
reclass
two separate.
20,005?
From the salary, and then if we need more, we'll bring it from reserves.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Well, I think it's, yeah, we were intending it to come from salary, but I don't know about the search part. Like, I almost feel like they're two items. Like, the search one is hiring them, and then the second part is expenses related, you know, as far as like,
Two separate line
What
items?
do you
yeah,
say,
you
you
know
want
what I
two
mean?
lines?
Is
Almost.
that okay? Can you do that?
Yeah, I can do that. I was separating them in description, but I was keeping.
Two line items.
Just so we can, so we'll be able to, for clarity of purpose, being able to see exactly what we're paying, because we have some advertising costs additional coming from her that would not really be included in those expenses, right? Or would
Correct.
we-
No, you're right. That is correct.
Yeah.
Could you somehow put that in the motion, please?
So I'll make a motion that we allocate $10,000 from the manager salary that is currently open, and put that into a line item for expenses as related to the
Town manager
the
search.
town manager search.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes?
Wait a
Need
minute.
to be a stickler.
That's fine.
I need one for the 10,000.
10,000.
Right.
Yep.
So then we're
Let's
gonna
do that
make a
now.
motion to allocate 10,500, which we've already approved for the search firm.
Fee.
And we'll, yeah, fee, and we'll also allocate that from the manager's salary position that's currently vacant.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
All opposed? Good. Thank you. Now, can we talk about rescue dogs?
Go
Okay.
for
Wait
it.
a minute, are we there yet? Yep,
I
rescue
know.
dogs, man,
Rescue
that's
dogs.
it, number 11.
Very
Or
good.
12, sorry.
Rescue dogs. Who has that? Who wants to
Do
present
they
that?
have the barrel around their neck? That's the one.
I wasn't at the last meeting. She just, Ivy provided answers in an email to questions that were apparently raised at the last meeting. And she says no more than 5 dogs will be there. All will be leashed. If there are puppies, they will be in a fenced pen. They have their own certificate of insurance that they will provide to us. And Ivy wanted to know what the next step is, if there is one.
And this is for what?
That was for that adopted
the-
dog. thing, right?
Or the
They want to have it at the Fall Festival.
That's what I want to know, at what
Festival.
festival it was involved.
Because normally, dogs and cats and animals are not allowed at town events.
Right.
And my understanding was they were going to stage them up here on the townhouse property, away from the main street and most of the congestion.
Okay.
So they would be up here by between the porch and the flagpole area.
Discussion?
No, I mean, it doesn't
From
sound
the,
to me like
from the
it's-
public, open to the public. Thoughts? No?
It doesn't sound
Okay.
to me like it's gonna be a problem as far as the way they're gonna have it at this point. I think that was
As
some of
long
the
as they're
concern.
handling cleanup.
Right, well, that's true.
She addressed all the questions and concerns, and actually,
All right.
I don't foresee any problem.
Do I hear a motion to waive our normal ordinance for the,
Make an exception, should we
Make
make
an
an
exception?
exception for this event? Is that
Yep.
how we would do it?
yep,
Just for this limited
it's one
purpose.
time,
And for the
one-time
limited,
trial.
for the limited purpose of the rescue, not completely making an exception for the
Right.
entire
Right,
fall.
yeah, that's a good point. You don't wanna have,
This is as if they have a booth, right? So,
kind of.
so they would be a vendor in a sense.
Good point. Are you gonna make the motion?
Sure, I make a motion to grant an exception to, is it a rescue dog adoptions at the Fall Festival to allow them to have up to 5 dogs in a fenced pen here in the town, on the townhouse grounds. They'll be providing us a certificate of insurance.
3 on a leash, 2 in a pen is what she was saying, right?
3 on a leash, 2 in a pen.
Right.
Do you hear a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You got it. Good.
The dogs are in.
Dogs are in.
The owner's liable for them anyway.
Okay, Julia.
Or almost.
For-profit businesses group using town parks.
Okay. I became aware of a group that was using Burkett Park to operate their business. I found this out by reading an article in the Eldersburg Patch. I went over and met the woman in charge of the organization. Long story short, she says she received approval from the town to do this in our park. However, no one at the townhouse has heard of this woman or heard from her.
She doesn't have anything in writing.
She has nothing in writing. And Parks and Rec has discussed the issue. We also have another group that is interested in using South Branch Park, again, to run a business with ponies for birthday parties. Parks and Rec thinks we should not be allowing for-profit businesses in our public parks. So that's our recommendation. I have allowed this woman to continue operating her group because I had no basis to really stop her. I have seen some of her Facebook postings have indicated that she's had issues with the Public Works crew mowing the grass when they're over there running their group. Not that they impeded Public Works, but that it was an issue for the group doing their exercises. Anyway, I also found out through looking at her Facebook that she's been using Millard Cooper Park, which she never indicated to me. I have since tried to contact her several times via email and on her Facebook, and she will not answer me anymore.
She's not ignoring you, is she?
Yes. And I know I'm using the correct address because it's what she uses on her page
Business,
for
right.
people to sign up for her group.
Maybe you should sign up, and that way you can.
Chief, what are your thoughts on this?
This particular group is a stroller fitness group.
Yeah.
They bring their strollers with their kids in them, and they somehow, other than walking, they do other exercising. And then they have play groups too, I think.
But there's a fee, there's money involved?
There is a fee, yes, she charges. This is the other thing. I asked her, why did she choose that park? Had she checked into Freedom Park? And she said yes, and they wanted to charge her. So that was the opposite side of our argument, is if we were to allow these groups to use our parks, then we certainly need to charge some kind of fee. It's $15 per class, $55 for unlimited access. So, I mean, and she's holding classes daily, including Saturdays. And again, if we allow this group,
Right, no,
we
it's-
open it up to the ponies, and, you know, where does it stop? So, and it would be very complicated, I think, to come up with a policy or even a agreement for them to sign based on usage. I mean, she's doing a weekly usage, the ponies would be as they booked parties. It would just be very,
But we do allow groups to come in for facility use and then
Right.
you charge them, so
Right.
you could have a daily and a weekly activity charge. But I think the real question is, should for-profit enterprises conduct business on town land?
Irma?
I'd also like to add that we discovered that the ponies already have us listed as a resource, quoted a price for how much
Yes,
we
I
would
forgot.
charge to have the party in our park and are using our town seat.
I forgot to ask if she had it taken down. Ivy was to contact her and remove it. I mean, they had the town seal on their website, everything.
Okay.
So these groups are just kind of taking free rein with,
Well, I commend the Parks and Rec for bringing this to our attention. I know you guys are only a committee, but you guys do a ton of work, as we all know. Chief, any thoughts on this as far as enforcement, what we can do?
The enforcement, may be difficult. Not that I would want anybody to, hypothetically, I'm a member of this community, I'm a resident, I pay town taxes, that's my park. Now I invite other members of my group. But the problem is here.
For free,
It's
yeah.
it's a for-profit.
Correct.
And we're gonna use my park. So, it would be a cloudy area as far as enforcement. I think, it's unfortunate that she's not responded to any of your requests. We may want to reach out to her in a formal letter, and express those concerns. Signed receipt requested.
The chief's answering a question without, the bottom line is there is no town park regulations. What needs to be put in place is some set of rules and regulations that have been approved at two levels. My belief is one from the Parks and Rec and then vetted by the town council, which imposes, use requirements or limitations, at which point violation might be treated as some level of infraction, whatever. And that now you've given the chief the ability to enforce, and you've got parameters upon which the chief, wearing his now interim town manager hat, can have conversations with interested public and say, here's the rules and here's your opportunity to use, and this is, here's your license if you qualify, or else, I'm sorry, you don't qualify for the use.
Well, now businesses pay taxes, right, in town? Don't all our registered businesses have to pay town taxes?
Okay.
So is this a business that's registered in the town, or are they just using town facilities, or
Town facility.
Ponies are not in town.
they're not, they're outside?
They're
of
not
town?
voters either.
Yeah.
And my suggestion is maybe, obviously, whatever Freedom Park had in place worked. You know what I mean? So can we maybe look at what is that the county, that's a county park? So maybe we should look at what the county, how they do it, because clearly they're not letting horses come up on their park. Those fields are used for ball fields and all.
I've seen horses over there.
Yeah,
okay.
but they're not gonna have like the dog
Right.
and pony show over there, So, I'm sure they have a set of guidelines. Can we maybe check those and?
I looked at Westminster's today just to see what they have. Their regulations are not, let's put it this way, I saw rules and regulations attached to a document
Right.
that didn't restrict the uses, but I would expect, if you search without any level of effort, you'd probably find a good set of rules that we could adopt.
Yeah, so maybe we should.
But
check
on
and see.
question, Billy and Julie, what would be the ideal situation?
Well, they said no, they don't recommend.
I mean, do you not want them in town at all, or do you want them to pay a fee? What is your thoughts?
We're saying,
I
I don't want to speak for Julia, but we were discussing this as a non-town-sponsored event or activity that's for-profit.
Right.
That's what we were opposed to.
Right.
I'm not sure that you want to allow nonprofits in without you know, appropriate approvals either, because nonprofits can amount to the same, you know.
So you're saying any event, any,
Nonprofits can be,
And we do have nonprofits, you know, Special Olympics uses Millard Cooper Park, so we really
But they're
do.
nonprofits and they're other nonprofits.
but they also get permission.
Right,
That's the big deal. So do we need some, so we really need a town ordinance to give, first, you guys the permit power, I guess, is what we're talking about.
well, to give the
Maybe.
town the permit power,
The
and to
town,
give it
right.
some enforcement authority. We don't have any authority to enforce it, even
Okay.
if we said we don't want them there. We need some
Okay.
rules in place to create, right,
Right.
to create that. So I would suggest we look at the county's thing and see, because I think it's
Bring
gonna be
those
more
over.
comprehensive as to what, you know what I mean? What, they've probably been through the whole gamut of everybody trying to do everything in the park, and they may have come up with a good solution, and it may be cost prohibitive. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's the cost. Maybe it costs $500.
No, it's probably a daily use requirement.
right.
She's gotta pay and file for an application every day that she uses it.
Right.
See, maybe that's a solution, you know, so we, yeah.
So,
Go, Billy.
Plus, is she licensed in the town? Does she have a business license in the town, chief, you know?
We don't have business license.
We don't have business license, okay.
No, that one.
Julie, can we just take this back to
We
the Parks and Recs committee and we'll pull
And do you want Dennis to come?
all of our collective thoughts together and in writing, we'll put our recommendation and give that to the mayor and town council.
And get Dennis either there or
Yeah.
however you wanna work with Dennis on that?
Sure.
That'd be great.
We do that.
Is that okay? Dennis, sounds good? Leo?
Mm-hmm, that's fine, yeah.
Go with the, yeah.
We're all cool?
That's cool.
All four?
This woman, this is a segue, but this woman was also looking to start a similar group in Westminster, and for a long time, she had on her webpage Westminster, and I talked to Barbara Kearney in Westminster, as well as the city Parks and Rec, and she had said she had approval in Westminster as well, and nobody there has heard.
Right.
And she has since removed Westminster from her advertising, so evidently she got shut down there.
Carroll
So-
County, just looking online real quick, has a whole section on parks and
Okay. I
recreation
didn't
and
think to
the use
even
of the
look at
parks, and so
county.
we can go through that and come
Okay.
up with something.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's a good idea. 'Cause
And I think-
whatever it is, it's working. It's keeping her out of their park. And I mean, or it makes it to where you're gonna make some money. I mean, if you're making good money and then she's gonna have to raise her fees, it may not be feasible, so.
Well, it's not, should not be, you have to make a decision on whether you're gonna allow this activity, because
Right.
every activity has merit. This one seems to have some, you know,
Merit.
merit. But
Absolutely.
on the other hand, it's a question of the slippery slope, so.
Well, and that's something we want the committee to look at when we get to that point. So if we set up a proper process for certain things that we want, like Special Olympics or visit, you know, we'll talk about that. So let's go from that step one, and then that will run through the council. But that would be great.
But the advantages are you might generate funds for Parks and
Correct.
Rec.
We are pro-business.
But you're gonna run into exactly what Dennis is saying. How do you
Might offset the co-
approve one
Right.
over another, just because
Yeah, you gotta have
you
a,
like
You're gonna-
babies and strollers, but you
Right.
don't like ponies?
Yeah.
And you're gonna
just
make
opening
people
stuff up
mad
to
and-
some,
Well, dogs, but no cats, that's the rule.
We felt if any park made sense for this, it would be South Branch Park. It's kind of removed from, you know, most of the rest of the town, and
Right.
there's some parking over there, it's not heavily used. And over by the warehouse side, maybe would be a place that could be a good fit.
Okay,
That was the one thing that we're still kind of
okay.
kicking around, puts us in Howard County. So,
On their
we gotta
purview.
take a close look at what's happening over there.
right.
Okay, so we have direction, we'll set up the process. Good. Anything else for open session? We'll go through the committee reports real quick, if anybody has anything.
Public Works.
Public Works Internet.
Public Works Internet, yep, absolutely.
Yes.
I think you had a proposition to solve our issue.
Well, I was just gonna, and I know I talked to Ron at the MML about this problem, and I know we've been going on about this since probably then. So my suggestion was maybe we should just go back to the Comcast. He's crying out for some help.
Yeah, Ron and I have had several conversations. This problem dates back to May. We started out with some equipment problem, bad ports in the routers, a virus, a reconfiguration of a previous town-owned computer. And then at the same time, too, we had separated service, the police department did, which was providing the link to the Public Works, because we went through the Skylink County fiber optic. Now, we're still trying to iron out some of the differences, but the way it was set up, it was going from a router from here to 470 feet of cable in the air over to the Public Works facility. And we've just, I think, spent more money than what, this whole debacle was needed, when a simple fix could have been going back to the Comcast service. And when I say that, it may even be temporary in nature, for the simple fact that the ultimate hope is to get Public Works on board, as well as all the other government entities here in the town of Sykesville on the county Skylink cable. Several months ago, there was a news article. They projected that they hoped that the county fiber optic system would be up and operational by January of 2013. So we're only looking, a handful of months. Worst case scenario is we couldn't bring Public Works on, or if they're in the second phase, I can't imagine him still being on the Comcast service for longer than a year before we could transition
Well,
to.
let's hear your proposal,
Well,
Ben.
my proposal is, I propose that we get him hooked back up to Comcast until, this is the chief discussed, that we can
Okay.
get this situation resolved, only because the cost is probably gonna be minimal,
Right.
far less than what I think we've invested already trying to get this link working.
Okay.
And then you can always stick a computer up there, while you're making sure the Skylink thing, while they're even setting that up, it allows us two options. He's not down, because we're coming to winter, and
When are we
Right.
need,
he's
they
gonna
need
need
internet
his,
access?
he needs his internet up, man. It's wasting time, and
He gets
so-
his work orders, complaints, citizens concerned, so
Good.
it's causing a burden as far as the man hours.
All right, so we have a motion, do we have a second?
Irma's trying to get our attention.
Dollar's fine, how much?
Whatever, well, what's the monthly cost? I mean, I guess
Six-
just,
It's about 60, a little less than
68,
65.
65, yeah.
Some- Right around there a month.
I've seen too many bills.
I don't know if there'll be installation charges also. I don't
there probably shouldn't be, isn't it a reconnect? I mean, you just call them up and tell them we're getting DirecTV, and then they'll give you that free. They'll be like, oh, we got a package.
He was connected off of their townhouse before, so it won't work.
No, darn. Well, I still think if we can
Go
look
ahead,
into.
give 'em- yes, go ahead.
Look into whatever, I guess we should allocate us enough to, whatever, I don't know. Or should we get a, how do we know what the number is?
Go ahead and get a bid.
Can we
if
get
it's
an
reasonable.
estimate? I guess that's probably the
Contact.
best way to do it, is get an estimate, and then maybe we can somehow, I don't know how we can do this, maybe give our,
$900 would cover for a year easily. Allow a little bit for,
Okay.
well, why
We can always
don't, you wanna
revisit
do
it.
that to get them hooked up rather than
Okay.
waiting?
We have 1,400 and change left over from the
FEMA.
reimbursement, the FEMA reimbursement.
And
So-
that's part of Public Works too.
Right,
Geez, we went through
so
that
yeah,
pretty
we'll do,
quick.
yeah. So
Let's
put
do
in.
that. Let's then, you okay with that? And then,
Do I hear a second?
well, we'll make a motion then, I guess, to
Your motion.
allocate, what was it? $900 for the
To get
additional
internet
funds
access.
from the FEMA money to get Comcast internet hooked up at the Public Works building until such time as
Right.
we can get the Skylink operation.
Got a second? More discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? No? Ayes have it?
All right, who was second?
Give it to Leo.
Julie, you got the second on that one.
Ron will be grateful.
Yes, you made him very happy.
He has not had internet
Shouldn't have gone on this
since
long.
May.
Yeah.
That's
Let's
gotta
get
be
it, let's get
crazy.
it done, sooner better than later. They need it for the winter time. All right, let's run down the committee reports real quick. Julie, that's here. Julia? Parks and Rec, you guys have been doing a ton of things.
Yeah, I think we covered a lot of it. We did have another movie night on Saturday. It was not too successful. I think we had issues as far as weather, timing, whatnot. We did have to shut the movie down about 45 minutes into the movie, maybe, because of weather.
But you saved all the equipment, right? That's
We
the bottom
saved all
line.
the equipment, yes.
And no one was hurt? Everybody's safe?
Absolutely, yes.
So that's a victory.
Auxiliary police get kudos. They pitched in, helped us pack up the equipment as fast as we could, so we really appreciate that help.
Well, I drove by at 2 in the morning to see if you couldn't tell. You guys have done such a great job cleaning it up, because we were stuck in, so you did a
Yeah.
great job.
We are looking at showing ET that we had to cancel in July, hopefully on the weekend of September 15th, that Saturday is September 15th, with a rain date of the following Saturday, September 22nd. I've contacted Captain Blair to ask what his schedule is like. He has to get back to me because they've got 3 other commitments in September, so I should hear from him to be able to finalize
Okay.
those plans. Anything else? I can't think of anything else. We didn't meet last month. Schedules just didn't work out, so we've been doing a lot of business via email.
Do you get any deal from the ASCAP fees if you have to shut the movie down? Do they work anything out, or you gotta pay full price?
No, we have up to a year to show the movie. So like last year,
I'm not sure.
right. Last year, we were supposed to show The Blind Side, which is what we showed this past Saturday, or part of it. So we have a year that we can still show that movie.
Right.
But like Irma said, we don't know, since we got partway into it, whether we'll still have that.
Well, attendance was growing from the first to the
Oh, the
second.
last movie was phenomenal.
Yep.
So we're gonna, Parks and Rec is gonna look at some things and see if we can determine anything. I think it's gonna be hard till we get more under our belt, but, you know, there's been talk that because it was a kid's movie the last time, that's why it was more popular, but it could have been the month and who was on vacation and who wasn't. There's a lot of things that could have contributed, so,
Well, the opening was very impressive with the graphics and the Sykesville. It was just like you were at a
Yep.
real movie theater.
Yep.
It was impressive. Okay.
Well, and I think the challenge too, like you said, is the weather and constantly switching it when you gotta switch it, and that really sets
Yeah.
you back. Because people are planning on it, and then it gets canceled, and they're not sure when it is again. I think that probably, like you said, and then
Yeah, it's very
vacations.
tough.
I think it was a multitude as well.
And you're doing the email blast to help you promote that?
yes.
Good.
We do have our last concert this Friday, and it's going to, vendors are gonna benefit the military memorial,
Where's that gonna be?
Miller Cooper
Is it
Park.
Miller Cooper? Okay.
Yep,
Good.
Had to cancel the last couple, right, because of weather.
canceled the last one, had the one before that.
Okay.
We canceled like 2 of them, yeah.
We're not very good at predicting that.
We need a weather committee.
It's been crazy this year.
It's very tough.
I'm sure,
You
yeah.
can't get people out there and have lightning,
No, it
you
doesn't
know,
work.
so it's,
I know, it's been tough. You
It's
guys have
very
had a
iffy.
tough.
Now, in Camelot, you know, the council actually set the weather pattern, so maybe we could do that. All right, moving on. Leo.
Main Street, we've got coming up on September 8th, Saturday, September 8th, the Chili Cook-Off and Microbrew Festival downtown from noon to 5. I guess, Chief, everything's all in line with that, with,
We're hoping.
okay, that should be good. Well, Beck's had their little garden party and all, I think all that went well, their 20th anniversary thing.
Oh, yeah, no
So-
problems at all.
So we're pretty much
Yep.
anticipating the same type of atmosphere. The Ghost and Legends Tour will be returning in October for the tour throughout town through the,
Is it sold out already?
I think they're just
She
getting in the
hasn't,
process of gonna be advertising
So
that.
buy your tickets
What
early,
day?
because it
It's
sells
sold out the last 2 times they've done it.
Yep.
October what?
She just has.
just the month of
Yeah, she just
October.
has it in the
Okay.
fall right now. She hasn't set dates or anything. All that's getting lined
Okay.
up right now, but just wanted to put that out there. And that's pretty much it right now. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to see the garden out front, how that's coming along. That
It's
looks
going
good.
beautifully.
It's maintained very well. So I think all the concerns about that were sort of overblown. I think that's coming along very well.
Looks very nice.
Um,
I want to mention the Amazing Baby and Child
Oh, that's
Expo
right.
this Saturday.
Yeah.
And Ivy has requested that council members come down for a period of time.
Cool. Good. And anything with the post office and post office boxes, things like that? I know last time we talked that they said that
We are in
you
the
guys wanted to talk to them specifically, not let the council do it, but that your Main
Well,
Street Association would talk to
Yeah,
the
we
post
were gonna
office.
try to do that through economic development. I did try to reach out to Ivy. She had given me a couple dates, and she never got back with me, so I think we kind of, unless I can talk to her, I was gonna call Jean and try to set something up, but I've been trying to coordinate a date with Ivy to do that, so we are working on that.
I've had people call me saying, hey, look, I will move my post office to downtown if you get post office boxes for me.
Cool.
So
That will,
that's sort of what you want. And I know you
the
can get
town
them
council,
cheap
yeah, so that was, we deferred that. That was part of something in the
to
budget.
Main
But
Street.
yeah, so let's wait and see. We'll talk to Jean about that and then see,
Can you report back to us next meeting then?
hopefully we can meet in time for that.
You got a whole
We'll try
month.
to
There's no
pull that
second
out.
meeting. So it'd be September.
We should be able to.
Yeah, I think we should be able to. We're working on that, though.
Okay.
We are on that.
Military Memorial, obviously the thing Friday night going on, that's great. We got it through Historic District Commission. I think Janice was involved with that. Janice, can you tell us about what happened with the Military Memorial Historic District?
Yeah, it was approved with some recommendations. They requested that you consult with Chairperson Greenwald about the selected plants to keep it in scale with the townhouse.
Okay.
She's afraid some of those plants that were on the plan would exceed their size and just drown the townhouse. So you want to keep them smaller. So it's, she asked that you consult with her. And it was noted that the history walk path might need to be adjusted, but apparently it would stay in the same location, so they're fine with that.
Good, because I know we wanted to adjust it anyway, pointing out, give us more timeline. Hopefully the town won't end this year. Although the Mayan calendar, you never know, so. Good. No, thank you for running that. Irma, any more thoughts on it? On
No, we've had, as you know, we've had an intern working this summer, working on putting together some information about this, gathering resources that we can go to when we get ready to put it in an RFP. He drafted an RFP, which we're in the process of reviewing. But that's where we are right now.
Right, and just as a review, you know, we talked before, and Matt actually left it in his notes, and the mayor and I went back and forth on that, that it was going to be done in phases. And that's why we had to go to RFP, because the first phase was under 10,000, but with my good buddy here, Ian Shaw, saying, well, I want lights, and it's smarter to do them earlier rather than later, which is appropriate, because you put the cabling in beforehand. So that put us over 10,000, and thus we had to go out to RFP. So that's part of the process. And
we do need to refine the RFP for the phases, because what we were given was the original phase.
So we need to do that.
Did not have that switch.
See, that's what I remember talking to her. That's why I was saying that. That's the only reason I was saying. She's like, well, why are you going out to RFP when we don't have the thing? So that's where that came from.
Right. The deal was to do it as we do it in phases, you know, so the RFP would go, as money comes available, then we would actually go finish that. So we'd have the bids already with the understanding there's money rolled in for the different phases. But you saw the excitement tonight. American Legion was very keen on it. We've challenged the town council all to buy at least 2 bricks. Once that get rolling, eventually we'll have the coins come out, is the plan, and then we may go to the restaurants. I've got a slideshow presentation I'll be going to Rotary, Kiwanis, who already will hear us. You know, we'll come and talk about it. So.
What phase is the bricks actually in? Is that the 3rd phase though?
Selling the bricks is first phase. So that's what gets
selling the bricks, but when's the installation of the bricks?
And installation, that will be first. That's it, because you do that, you do the ground part first. So that's the whole phases. So good point.
I was trying to delay purchasing the bricks.
We
That's
gotta
not
show
until the
leadership.
3rd phase.
As you know, it's a third. Third people will buy into the vision, a third when it's being built, a third after they've been on that elevator and rode it a few times, then they'll start paying for it. So that's where we want you. We want you to be in the forefront. Get on the train. Get in.
All right, you got it. I see. I got to be out in front.
2 bricks, and you know you can do your family, you do somebody you want to honor.
How many bricks total are they?
So plenty of bricks.
I mean,
That's the problem, we don't know.
The initial part was, I think, about 3,000 for the first part.
So when you sell the
history walk.
1,551st brick, that's when I'm donating.
There you go. But we know the whole project's probably going to be under 20,000, so if we sell enough bricks to get the money, then we're good to go. We just go do everything right at once.
All right.
So we're excited. You saw the Legion's excited tonight.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Everybody in TV land, get excited.
It's pretty awesome. No, it's good that you've done this. It's come a long way. You made a lot of progress. It's really cool to see the excitement for it. I think it'll be pretty cool when it's all done.
Very good. Anything else you've got on your committee?
The Parks and Rec, not Parks and Rec, Planning Commission. I've had so much Parks and Rec tonight. I want to sign up, but I feel like I'm too old, really. Anyway. The Planning Commission did not meet this month as we didn't have any items for the agenda, so we're shooting for, the meeting has been moved due to Labor Day, so it'll be on the Tuesday, the 4th, I guess, or 5th, right? Whatever that Tuesday is after Labor Day, so that's our next meeting currently scheduled, so we did not meet, so no information.
Anything else? Okay. Any other committee reports before we go to the minutes? Last meeting? No? Ivy's not here. Debbie's in the back. Debbie?
Question, do we have any update on the new owners of the building across from the post office? What they're planning? The reason I ask is that the front yard is one really tall.
Well,
It hasn't gone to settlement yet, has it?
Yeah, yeah, no, and I do have an update on that part from planning, I guess I can give
Talking
you.
about
one.
Fred's,
Yes.
I sent you an email.
The town still owns it,
The town still owns it.
We should probably send this,
probably.
It's
Since
a
some
little site
process
Deed is
will be
one.
finished till mid-September.
Have you looked
Right.
at the town?
I did.
is it Rob?
I just.
Sounds like a few more weeks till it moves over, so we'll notify Ron to get that done. That's a good point. Thank you, Patty. You guys have that, we'll give someone, can Ron
Yeah, maybe
give Ron a
see if we
quick buzz.
can mention
Thank
that
you.
to Ron, maybe, because, yeah, we should be taking care of that now. And they are working on that, is getting the lot. I know Barbara, when we did talk to her at the planning commission, she was gonna see what she could do to get, to push that along a little bit.
Town engineer expects us to be able to close, we'll have a subdivision plat completed and recorded sometime by mid-September.
Oh, that's
which-
great.
Which would then allow us to close
Okay.
30 days
good.
after that.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
And I'm keeping the buyer up to date on that.
thank you.
I'll tell him right after the Comcast news.
Yeah, so, tell you what, here's the deal. It ain't your cable contingent on weeding that. We want that to look good for the
All
Fall
right,
Fest
let's
anyway.
move on.
For the Fall Fest.
Okay, so we've got minutes from last meeting. I took a peek at them. I didn't see anything. Did Julia, your expert eye, did you come
I
across
didn't get the
anything?
minutes,
No.
I'm hoping everything was all right.
Leo, did you see anything?
I wasn't here, so I didn't, I
So
don't
you
know
get-
what was
that's
said.
true.
That's the one thing I didn't get, so I'm hoping Julia checked them and everything's.
I
looking
checked them. It looked pretty good to me.
good. Okay.
I wasn't here last time,
Oh,
so.
well then, you checked them,
All right.
trust me.
Don't have a motion to approve the minutes as planned, as submitted to us? I hear a second.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? No opposition, so thank you, Jonas.
Oh, and then the MML dinner, that,
MML
and the
dinner.
other
Yes, go ahead.
thing. So the MML dinner is in our great town of Sykesville. You don't have to drive far this month, so, or for this next meeting, it is September the 20th at Baldwin's. So,
Why did
Thursday
we
night?
pick 6 instead of 7?
well, it's
Isn't that
social time is 6, so, or it's whatever, 6:30 is social time, 6:30.
Okay,
So 6:30 is social time. You don't have to be there for that. The meeting does actually start at 7.
okay.
So that just gives you, if you
I
want
just
to come
saw, when I
early,
saw
chat.
6, I thought people are gonna have
colleagues.
difficulty making it possibly.
Maybe we can invite you down and maybe Ron to come and try to tap into the mayors and all and put
You
that.
can eat. Don't you want
Yeah,
dinner?
get fruit at Baldwin's, I mean, hey.
Would you like dinner? You're invited to dinner.
We can talk about that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll
Available.
talk about it with you and we'll see if that's
Maybe
an
on
option.
patrol that night.
Is it worth your, in your
That's right,
18-hour
yeah.
shifts? Your 18-hour?
Maybe you can come in and have dinner and then shoot out, right?
To go. We'll get it to
Yeah,
go.
we can get you to. We'll see if that's gonna work, but, so anyway, plan on attending, it'd be nice if we could have everybody come down since it's in our town.
Good. Anything else? We've got, treasurer's
Treasurer's
report.
I didn't have
I'm
anything from
good.
it.
Nothing in there. How are we looking on the budget for since we're at the end? Is everything
Roma's working on
balancing
the
out,
audit right now,
I
yeah.
noticed we're still got parentheses on some stuff, so I guess I thought I would just check and,
Smile, the auditors left last week, they were here last week,
Right.
okay,
so we're waiting on final numbers, but it's looking pretty good.
good,
Good.
okay.
It looks like we're gonna have about, well,
Wait, so you
Don't get our
don't
hopes
jinx
up.
us.
Thanks, yeah, don't end, okay.
So get treasurer's report. Any additions, corrections, questions? No, we're good?
Nope.
Do you
The
wanna
only
approve
other
it?
thing I had on there is the
Yes.
questions is the legal fees, because we're getting into that, lumping everything together again. Is there, how can we get like a little more
It's
information?
very difficult,
Is
Ian, because there are so many things that Dennis does for us.
No, I know, and I don't wanna make it micromanaging, I was just trying
And
to.
it's difficult to mention everything, and some of them are sensitive and shouldn't be mentioned, maybe.
All right, I was just, all right, I guess if we got further concern, I can ask you about that or whatever, or ask.
I'm around.
Whenever I can, I will break it out.
Cool.
Yeah, okay, that's all, I just was curious about that.
You can approve the motion.
Yeah, all right, I make a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Good. Anything else for open session?
I think so.
Do I hear a motion?
Motion to take a 5-minute recess.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Is there anything for public
Yeah, will there be any decisions?
session after?
I don't think there
Is there anything for me?
Yes.
Nothing major. Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight.
2.5
Thank you.
items, just hang around, you'll be all right.
You're just one company.
Call my cell phone.
Yeah.
Got my cell phone, Leo?